We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Drew Aldrich. File number is 22-03313. FY. Council Terrence.
Paige Castleman on behalf of the people.
And Assistant Public Defender Sarah Downey on behalf of the defendant Drew Aldrich, who is present and standing to my right.
Today was the date and time set for a hearing on a probation violation hearing that you were previously arraigned on back on May 22nd. Violations alleged that you tested positive at PATS on March 31st, 2023. That passed with the result of THC in the amount of 48 nanograms per milliliter and an ETG of 194,922 ETS and 49,322 ETS on April 18, 2022, a THC of 548 nanograms and ETG of 20,124 with an ETS of 3,952. And on April 24, 2023, THC in the amount of 1,956 nanograms and an ETG 68,094 with an ETS 14,612 nanograms. Okay. How are we proceeding on this? Are we having a hearing?
Your Honor, at this time, Mr. Aldrich has provided a valid medical marijuana card. There was confusion and doubt over its authenticity, but I have confirmed he's actually got a new one too from the State Department in regards to his medical marijuana card, but it is valid. But in regards to testing positive for alcohol, I do believe that Mr. Aldrich does not dispute that and he be pleading guilty.
You have this medical marijuana card?
So this is what was printed out by them. You want it doesn't have, for some reason, well, do you know if they explain why it doesn't have your picture this time?
They're updating the camera systems for the Secretary of State, and all the new cameras print the picture super large on the card. They said it's being fixed, but
Where's your old medical marijuana card?
I got it. It's at the, I think Sarts has it at the office.
Oh, is this the one that was emailed? Okay. So they're issuing medical marijuana cards without pictures?
I guess, right, you know.
that's the one they sent me, and they told me that as soon as it was fixed, they would be sending me a new card.
Okay, and when was this provided to your probation officer? Before or after the violations?
This he just got. This was or no, this is issued on April 16th. When did you get this one on April 16th?
Yes, I did get it.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. That one, it was issued on April 16th. The original card was issued.
And that was provided for probation. Did you provide this one? Your
This is the
probation
first
officer?
time I
Okay. So make sure your probation officer.
What is that mean?
Oh, I apologize. It's probably.
Okay, as to the violations for the medical marijuana, you did not produce the medical marijuana card prior to these violations.
Your Honor, he produced it, I believe, many times. I've had this conversation with Mr. Sarts, I believe it was even at sentencing, or at least the first probation. It's just that when presented with the card, the prosecutor's office got suspicious because it didn't match up with their own medical marijuana card. But again, we were able to confirm that there was a printing error with the Canterbury Regulatory Agency and that this is a valid card.
You talking about the picture that had his picture
All
over
the way
thing?
across it? Yes, that was also.
Produced after this violation was issued to our court. We didn't see that prior to the violation. And this that card you just showed me said it was issued in April. This first violation was in March. So what I was stating.
Was it? Oh, okay.
What I was stating was that you had not provided your probation department or your officer with information that you had a valid medical marijuana card prior to getting a violation, is what I'm stating.
Is that true, Mr. Aldridge?
I informed Mr. Walski that I had.
Ms. who?
Mr. Walski, my probation officer.
Oh, that you had a valid medical marijuana card?
That it was being processed, yes.
Okay, so you had
I
not,
didn't have the physical card before the violation, but
you had applied for a card, you
It
did not
was-
have one.
correct.
That's my point. You did not have a valid one when this happened. You had applied.
Did you have a card before you applied for this one?
That's my point. I'm still going to dismiss that portion of the violation. I don't want to make it clear to you that the reason why this was still issued is because you never had the card before you pick up the first violation. It was even noted in the pre-sentence report that you had disclosed use of marijuana, but you didn't believe it was an issue at the time. And then even when this first violation was written up with the recommendation, your MJ use was early on after being placed on this term of probation. And so it's good that you went ahead and got the card. I know we can't verify the picture. That I had a concern. It wasn't just the prosecutor's office that had a concern with the other picture. I did too. There's no way the picture should have expanded way over to the other side the way it did. The state of Michigan issues many licenses in identification cards. I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to figure out how to issue one in this particular case, especially if they're allowing someone to use marijuana. But nonetheless,
Wasn't sentencing in May? Were you put on probation? When were you put on probation?
March 6th.
Your Honor, that's not the information I had. Is that he was very much had that card always, but
Even the card you have shows when it was issued.
yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, and he was sentenced in March 6th. And then I think he admitted on the 9th that he had used marijuana. So that's why it said his drops were so high. He's got a valid card now, or what we perceive to be valid. He'll get a picture. So there's no reason to hold a hearing or beat a dead horse as it relates to the marijuana. You got your mechanism for that, but you still have the violation remain as to the use of alcohol. And so you want to plead to that one, or you want to have a hearing?
No, Your Honor, he doesn't want to plead. He wants to plead that one.
That's correct, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Again, you have the right to have a contested hearing. You have the right to be represented by counsel at that hearing. Ms. Donnelly is here to advocate for you on that behalf. And then you have the right to have the prosecution and the probation department put forth evidence to sustain their burden that you violated the terms of your probation orders. Do you understand that?
Yes,
You want to waive your hearing today?
Yes.
Anybody threatening you to get you to waive your hearing?
No, ma'am.
Any promises being made to you in exchange for you waiving the hearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, the violation is that you tested positive for alcohol back on March 27, 2000. I'm sorry, did I get the right date on here? 58. Oh, yep, for alcohol, March 27, 2023, with an ETG of 135,512 nanograms and an ETS of 30,576. As to that violation, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. And were you placed on a term of probation by this court back in March
Yes, Your
of
Honor.
2023? Okay, and was one of those conditions that you were not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol while on probation?
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
Okay, and on or about March 27, 2023, had you consumed alcohol?
Yes, I had, Your Honor.
What did you have?
I had 3 or 4 beers.
Okay, and you knew they were beer when you were drinking them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you knew it was in violation of your probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so nobody forced you or tricked you into drinking the beer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea to the violation and find your plea to be made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. We'll continue your probation at this time as it is. This was a violation that happened within weeks of you being on probation. I don't see where, since the issuance of this last summons for probation violation, which was signed by me on May 17th, which dealt with the THC. I don't see any other violations. So hopefully there won't be any further violations, okay? Have any questions at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, card. Didn't show up.
He did
so
not
I
show
didn't
up.
get a benchmark.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
As far as.
Sent by who?
Mr. Lee.
The same as legal supposed to be up for trial? You sent us an email?
And he was emailing me.
Interesting. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Jabril McCullum, file number is 22-01756. To appearance.
Page Councilman on behalf of the people.
An assistant public defender, Sarah Donnelly, on behalf of the defendant, Jabril McCollum, who is present and standing to my right.
How are you, Mr. McCullum?
Okay, Your Honor. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Today was the date set for a hearing on a probation violation. I'm gonna find the violation. Okay, I have here a request and summons for probation violation, and it alleged that you violated the terms of your probation by committing the following technical violations. You tested positive at EverHealth on May 3rd, 2023 for benzoydiazepine. Don't quote me on the pronunciation of that, with a result of 1,293 nanograms, and for cocaine with a result of 314 nanograms. In violation of order from March 6, 2023, you failed to provide verification of your 12-step attendance meeting 3 times per week. And so you were arraigned on these violations back on May 22nd. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, on the allegation that he failed to provide verification, well, both on them, basically, I think we've been having a hearing. He has proof. He says he's been trying to provide this proof to his probation officer by email, and he says he's been emailing her back, but I get, he doesn't know where the disconnect is, but he does have today a very worn couple of pages dating from March 17th through June 11th. And then, yes, he contests that, he used benzodiazepines or cocaine on or near, May 3rd.
Sounds good. We'll get Ms. Luhowski upstairs.
Okay, so what was, I'm looking for procedure A. What are those? I want those on those. Images I get associated with the, well, that's not the Heather though. This is not emails to Heather. No, these are, you're on your, no, you need to, yeah, you need to send. No send. There's community, that's not it though. Did you tell her that you were including it? Because, you know, when we don't.
Yes.
Something here
Yes, I told her,
because
I told her, even,
they want me
because when
to.
she said that she wasn't getting it, I even sent it from my sister.
So she said she wasn't getting it from it.
I issued an order a year ago, like exactly a year ago, provide verification of the new health counselor.
So
I'm
if you
just
can
gonna
tell
ask
me,
you
if
to
you can
violate
show
them
me
for
how
that.
you're sending them, maybe we can figure out why she's not getting them.
What you was doing? Oh, that's
Right.
what you should feel that shit. I got questions. I need to speak to you about that before I can sign that.
Those are, yeah, those are just gonna be the little images that.
Because
come
at this
with
point, they
the
supposed to be
emails.
discharged, and
Yeah,
I'm trying to
they're
do
not
it.
gonna be-
'Cause
What would you have titled
it?
this?
Because that's the
Something
question.
last minute,
Right, that's the on the record. Let's see. Should we a moment before we call your witness?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, you can call your witness.
Right, I would be calling Heather. Can she testify from here?
That's fine. You raise your right hand.
Yes, she-
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Nahowski, are you currently supervising Jabril McCollum on probation?
I am.
And when was he put on probation?
That would be reflected in the court file of the actual date of sentencing.
If you don't know, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know the exact date of sentence.
Has he been on probation since March of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And
Actually, I have December of 22 was when
Okay.
his file became active with us.
okay, so he has been, as part of that probation, has he been required to do any sort of drug testing?
Correct.
And what is his drug testing requirements?
He is ordered to test HO2, which is 6-panel lab test, weekly.
Weekly, okay. And in terms of his drug testing, has there been any positive results that I guess, how do you get sent those drug testing results when he does do them?
Those come via email. Like a lab report comes after it goes to the lab. It is sent directly to us with the results of those screens.
Okay, and do you have that screen with you in terms of any, well, first of all, has there been any type of positive screens with Mr. McCollum?
Yes, so every test comes back positive for THC. But he was approved medical marijuana on with his card approved on January 5th. So the one in question on May 3rd came positive for THC as well as cocaine at 314 nanograms.
And was there any positive result for benzodiazepines?
It also was positive for 1,293 nanograms with specific drug of hydroalprazolam,
Okay,
which is a mental health medication.
and have you gotten any proof from Mr. McCollum that he is on any type of prescribed benzodiazepine?
I do not have that. No, I've not received it.
And so at this time, I guess I'd ask that the drug test from May 3rd be admitted as an exhibit. I'm not sure how this court does that, whether I need to admit that as an exhibit or you already have it for your consideration.
I don't have it.
You do not have it? Okay.
No.
So is this, I'm just gonna show you, or I guess can I use?
This is
Okay,
the one I've submitted to.
okay. So I'm gonna show you this. Is this the 2-page report that you're referring to from May 3rd?
Yes.
And does it have a specific, I guess, does it have any type of identifier that this came from Mr. McCollum?
Yeah, it says patient name, Jabril McCollum.
And what about the PIN number? Is that an identifier?
That is a number that he uses when calling into their hotline. He'll enter that number so it identifies him.
And that is how he figures out that he needs to drug test?
Yeah.
Are these random?
Yes.
Okay, and when you set up this, are you the one who instructed Mr. McCollum that you need to call in this number and put in your PIN?
No, we just refer them to AverHealth or Adam, and then they set up those requirements and go over everything with them.
Okay. And does anything on here has anything on here been changed since you received this directly from AverHealth?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I'd ask that this be admitted as proposed exhibit 1, the drug testing results.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
May I affirm? And in terms of the drug testing that was done that he tested positive on, is that testing amount, is that significantly higher than the cutoff that you usually see?
Yeah, so the cutoff is, for cocaine is 300, so it is just above the cutoff. So not like significantly high, but any level of cocaine, that's not something that naturally appears in your body or anything that should be there. And then the benzodiazepines, the cutoff is 200 nanograms, so that's over 1,000 higher than the cutoff on that medication.
Okay, and what about the cocaine on the second line? Is that the cocaine metabolite?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and what does that tell you as a probation officer looking at these drug tests?
So when you see that the parent drug at 314 nanograms and the metabolite at 466 nanograms, it shows that the body is processing the parent drug of cocaine, and so that the use probably wasn't, it was maybe, it usually stays in like 72 hours. So you might be like halfway through, because they're pretty close in numbers, that your body is about halfway through processing that cocaine.
Okay, and these are urine tests?
Correct.
That's done, okay.
Mhm.
And did you talk with Mr. McCollum about why his tests were positive on May 3rd?
So I talked to him on May 17th when he reported into me for his monthly reporting. And we discussed the violations, advising him, that they were going on. He didn't, say anything much about it, or there wasn't any real conversation about the testing. And then we also discussed the AA meetings.
Okay, and have you gotten any, so when you first had Mr. McCollum on probation, did you explain to him that he would have to provide proof of AA meetings?
Yeah, so this is part of a amended order that took place in March. And when I met with him on the 17th and explained to him about the AA meetings, he advised he had been going. And I said, well, the problem is I haven't received them. The only AA sheet I had was for the first month, and it went through, let's see, I just had it. It went right here through April 8th. And that was the only one I received. So on May 17th, I advised him to get me copies, and I didn't have a problem or wasn't saying he wasn't going, but just that the court had not received those, and still I have not received them.
Okay, and in terms of the amended order, do you know why that order was amended to require 12-step meetings?
Yeah, so there was a violation on January 5th that he was positive for benzodiazepines, the same medication, the hydroelprazolam, cocaine, opiates, and morphine. And that was a violation that was issued from Brendan Hanna, who originally had this case. And that was issued in January, and then the amended order of the sentencing was on March 6th.
And have you gotten any information from AdverHealth that maybe this test on May 3rd wasn't accurate?
No.
Okay. All right, I don't have any further questions at this time.
So, Ms. Duhosky, when Jabril's orders were amended on March 6th, did you discuss with him how often you'd want him to provide proof of his AA attendance?
It was given to him in a copy. It says right on there 3 times per week, the actual document, the amended order.
Was that to attend AA 3 times a week or to report it 3 times a week?
To attend 3 times a week, report once per month. Just send it on your report day to me via email.
So did you get an email with this, a copy of his 12-step on April 12th?
That is the one I believe I have. Let me see the day I entered it. Yes, April 12th, that was his report day. And that's the one I received through April 8th attendance. Is the only one I've received.
Okay, and so he would have reported again his attendance when he reported in May, right? Okay, and what day of the week, what time of the month does he report?
His report day is the second Wednesday of every month, so it changes. I can't give you a specific date for every month, but it's the second Wednesday of every month.
So last month, would it be fair to say that Wednesday, the second Wednesday of May was the 10th?
I don't have a calendar, so it could be.
I mean, if you want to, if you want to take judicial notice of it. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, I have no reason to believe that it isn't. I honestly have no idea.
Okay. So, but you did sign this allegation that he failed to report on May 9th.
That he failed to email. I didn't receive any documentation on that day. Correct.
Okay, but his report date is May 10th.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. So did he report on May 10th?
No, he reported on May 17th. He missed his report day.
Okay, so he did, so he missed his report date, he was a week late, okay. And when, and then, so you met with him on May 17th.
Correct.
And did you ask for his verification at that point?
Yes, we had a lengthy discussion about it. He said that he had been emailing them in. I advised him I had not received any of them other than the first set that ended on April 8th, that if he sent those documents to me, I would be more than happy to dismiss violations today. It is now June 12th, and I have not received an email with any AA verifications.
Okay, all right. And you said that you received the test results from AverHealth in an email?
Correct.
Is that an email, like a do not reply email that AverHealth has, or is it a very specific person that emails you those results?
It is a automated, when they enter the test results, there's an online portal. And when they enter the test results into my portal for my clients listed to me, an email gets sent to me stating there's a non-negative result in my portal. I go in and I print off those documents that are specific to each person.
All right, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Any direct of your witness?
Just briefly, so in terms of the violation on the reporting the AA meetings, the violation consists of that he failed to report any AA meetings after April 8th of 2023.
That is correct.
Okay,
I have no documentation.
all right. So you printed off the AverHealth drug screen directly from that portal website.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Are you gonna call any other witnesses?
What did you say?
Are you calling any other witnesses?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Donnelly, are you gonna call any witnesses?
You have your side of the
I have no idea what's going on here. It wants me to select the language.
Your Honor, I specify.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury? You can proceed, Ms. Donnelly.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. McCollum, were you know that your orders were amended on March 6th because of a positive test, correct? And you were ordered to start attending AA 3 times a week. And what did your probation officer tell you how often you needed to report this attendance?
On my report date.
Okay, and you did report it for April, correct?
Yes.
And then what happened? You were supposed to report it by May 10th on last month. Is that correct?
I guess when I talked to Heather, she had told me that it was a violation coming up, and I explained to her like, "Ma'am, I sent the email to you." She said, "It really don't matter now because I already violated you. Just bring them into court." So I'm like, "Okay." I know it's really okay.
And Mr. McCollum, you're aware that your urine tested positive on May 3rd for benzodiazepines and cocaine, correct? On or about May 3rd, did you have a prescription for benzodiazepines?
No,
All right. Were you using benzodiazepines?
no, man.
All right. Were you using cocaine on or before May 3rd?
No, man.
All right. Do you have any explanation for why you tested positive for those results?
I don't.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
So Mr. McCollum, do you have any type of prescriptions for any type of psychiatric medication like Xanax? How do you explain that this has happened twice now, that you've tested positive for the same thing?
I do not know about the second drop. I do not know by far, but the first drop, I did, and then it was on my first dirty. But this last dirty, I don't even know how that came about.
Okay. So why didn't you have a conversation with Miss Hosky about the test if you thought it was inaccurate?
I kind of expressed it to her like it was kind of like shocking to me when she said it. I was shocked, like how? And she said, I do not know how. And I'm like, wow, just wow. Okay. But she said she had already validated me, and I tried to tell her then, like I've been doing everything I asked of me. I was crossing my teeth, down my eyes. Forward to drop dirty basically. Forward, too much going on. I was. It was just out of her hand.
You did take this test on May 3rd of 2023 around 9 a.m. And if you don't remember it, okay.
Was the first one.
Yep, I did have to drop.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions.
Okay, I don't know if we addressed this already. So your statement is that you did not use cocaine on or before the 3rd of May, 2023, and that you did not take any prescriptions. You didn't take any prescriptions at all.
No, man.
No,
Marijuana.
Except for the medical marijuana.
except for medical marijuana. Okay, and so you have no idea why benzodi, how do you pronounce that?
Benzodiazepine?
That one, why that would be in your system at the amount of 1,293 nanograms.
No, man.
Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Redirect,
No, no.
okay, you can proceed to argument.
At this time, I do believe that there has been a preponderance of the evidence that probation was violated in this case. I understand that even though it was not submitted as an exhibit, the defendant did bring in some handwritten lists of AA meetings. However, that was never submitted to the probation department. She did state that the probation officer did state that she asked Mr. McCollum to submit that AA verification. I mean, I assume he would be submitting it the same way as he did previously. There's no question that he partially completed that requirement, but I don't think he fully completed it. I think the more concerning violation is the drug testing. That's exactly the same as the first violation that Mr. McCollum had in this case that resulted in his need to attend AA meetings. And I think that there's no information that says that this test is inaccurate. I think that there is some credence to it because it's the exact same drugs that he tested positive for before. I think it's clear that the cocaine use probably was couple days before the actual testing in this matter. The THC does not make a violation because he has a medical marijuana card, but I think that it's clear that he is having trouble with some of the same drugs that he tested positive for before. So I'd ask that you find the violation in this matter and possibly impose some treatment or more intensive treatment requirements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Despite me advising Mr. McCollum the nature of the testing, the lab confirmations. He is adamant that he did not use cocaine or benzos during this time. He says that he has been, ever since the first violation, and he was given the 90 days, he's been trying really hard. He even has his 3-month coin to stay sober. So, Your Honor, I know that, after advising him, he wanted to proceed with the hearing, knowing that, these things are almost, because the lab confirmation almost assumed. But despite that, he's adamant, he obviously doesn't want to plead guilty, something he didn't do. And then in regards to the verification, he was required to submit verification once a month, since March 6th. His first date here was for March 17th. He reported in April on the 12th. He reported dates up through, I think she said April 8th. So, I mean, that seems accurate to what he had at the time. And then I don't know why we have this if it's for May, I guess maybe she saw into the future because he didn't report. Was he supposed to report this on the 9th or the 10th? Because he was supposed to report on the 10th.
Does he have it?
He has it, Your Honor, he has it.
He showed it to me.
You want it?
Well, can you show it to her?
Yeah, I can show it to her.
That's all I need.
It's current through June 11th. So, Your Honor, I like I said, there's just your 3-month coin that you keep with you. Yeah. So again, Your Honor, the evidence, obviously we can't object to it.
Yeah, it was issued. She can't withdraw it. I have to dismiss it. That's what she
Exactly.
meant.
But I just wonder about the timing of it all. So Your Honor, I do believe that he did provide proof last month, and he did try to provide proof, but I have no objection to the fact that I think this month there was an issue with providing the verification because it wasn't on time.
I would imagine the timing, this is just me, I can't see into the future or the past or into Ms. Duhosky's head, but there was testimony that there was a conversation about the the positive testing. And so I'm inclined to believe that since she was going to issue, and maybe she noticed that was missing. I don't know. It's really not the major issue because especially considering the fact that she brought the proof, that will be dismissed. The major issue we have here is why in the world would it be possible for you to magically, I like how you use that word benzo because I'm not going to try to pronounce this word anymore. Why you would magically test positive for the two same exact things you tested positive for before, but only higher this time. There must have been a fairy that came into your bedroom or and ingested it into your system because this magically appeared the same exact things that you tested positive for in the last violation, only higher than the last time. And so I don't know either, but I know it was there, and I don't believe that a fairy brought it to you. And I don't think it just magically appeared in your system. I have no reason to dispute the results here from AverHealth. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't have any reason to dispute AverHealth's determination as it relates to the substances. And I recognize you have a medical marijuana card, but there's a substance abuse issue going on, even with the medical marijuana. Okay, and you're not properly addressing it. You can't properly address it if you're in any stage of denial. I'm not saying that you are or that you aren't, but I'm saying that there was 1,293 nanograms of benzos found in your blood or in your drop, and then cocaine in the amount of 314 nanograms. And it didn't just happen through osmosis. That's what I'm saying, okay? And so you need to figure out what you're exposing yourself or who you're around. If you didn't intentionally ingest it, maybe you were with someone who was ingesting it. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I don't think that you can secretly ingest cocaine, but I don't really know. You need to figure out who you're around and what you're exposing yourself to that's putting you at risk for this, because it's not going to fare well for you. I promised you 14 days Ingham County Jail back on March 6th if you violate it again. I increased your testing to 4 times per month and told you to participate in 12-step 3 times. 3 times per week on here. Let's see. Okay, 3 times per week, and that you would provide proof of enrollment. We've addressed the participation, and it sounds like you're participating, and you show some coin that you were given. I think that's great, but you know what I would rather you show me? Some clean drops. That's what I would rather see. I don't see your coin. It means nothing to me if I get a dirty drop. You understand that?
And he hasn't been missing any testing, Your Honor.
Okay. And I know that you have not been missing any testing. You're still testing 4 times a month. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Recommendation is for you to continue probation, impose jail is minimally suggested. You're working, correct?
No, ma'am, not.
Why aren't you working?
I'm on this side.
Okay, so you're not seeking employment? What do you do during the day?
I have my son joining.
Okay. Okay, and so you have, they want to add intensive outpatient treatment. The concern, sir, is that you only have a fair overall attitude, but your progress has been poor. And that's just relative to the results we have here. We have 2 violations so far, or 2 separate violation with the same exact substances. And this time, the amounts found in your system were higher than last time, which is definitely not a good sign. It's a terrible sign. So we're going to increase your treatment to intense outpatient. You're going to need to show some motivation as it relates to your treatment, and you're going to need to do some soul searching as it relates to why you're coming up with negative tests, because you're not going to be able to come in here any more times and tell me you don't know how it got into your system.
Yes,
You understand that?
ma'am.
The sentence is going to be 93 days in jail. I'll suspend those 93 days upon successful completion of probation with an added intensive outpatient treatment. If you violate this time, someone else will be watching your child while you go and figure out treatment from the inside. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Your Honor, I just wanted to say I did receive the AA verifications. One thing I've noticed is consistently he's attending 3 in one day. And
Every
that's not
Sunday.
typically how AA works. They should be spread out onto 3 separate days. So I want that specifically on the record that they do need to be on 3 separate days. So you're receiving support throughout the week versus one day so that you stay clean.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't understand that.
Okay.
And do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can't do 3 on the same day, because the purpose of us making you go so many times is so that when it gets to hump day and it gets difficult,
Yeah.
you have another session either that day or coming up to get you through to the next more difficult time.
Yes, ma'am.
So going on all Sundays may not be enough to get you through to the next Sunday. Okay?
Okay.
So you need to provide proof that you're doing it 3 times per week on separate days.
Okay.
Okay, 1 session per day is your max per day. Okay,
Okay.
if you want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's your business. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Do you have any questions at this time?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, you're all set.
May I grab those documents, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
No problem. Is Mr. Hannah here today?
He is not, he's on vacation.
Oh, okay, I just had a question about this violation request because I didn't know if this person hadn't provided verification since the last year when I told them to provide verification of their new provider, I think. Oh, maybe that was a month ago. Let me see here. I thought I said it a year ago that they were supposed to provide verification. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I misread the date.
Yeah, he's gone all week. I could try to look at notes. if there's something
I think I
wrong with-
figured, I think I,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's see here, hearing.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. um, yeah, I can read for that one.
Benzo and. Benzo, was it benzodiazepine?
Benzodiazepine.
Benzodiazepine,
Mm-hmm.
what a heck of a word.
It actually, if you break it up into the actual like little,
All those letters just
small,
overwhelmed me.
Well, try it.
they do.
There's two benzos that it tests positive for. There's also benzo,
It's called benzogly. That one is even worse.
Yeah, those
Benzo-
letters.
benzo-
Benzoline.
I wonder why
Benzo-
it's necessary to name these things this way.
I agree with you.
Why is that
It's easier to
necessary?
say
Molecule
cocaine, but it is the molecule, so it's the parent drug is cocaine, but then the metabolite is the benzoglyconine.
Oh, got it.
And so when they put it on your lab results, they're gonna give you the parent drug and the metabolite.
Got it.
So it becomes a mouthful.
I don't know, people are testing really high today. That one and the alcohol test, the ETGs that we had in the previous.
I have my highest ever, and I've been in
That
for
was
3
crazy
years.
when it comes to costs.
It's like 100, that greater than 100,000, like
Yeah.
they just stopped.
That's what we just had.
But he went to the
Insane.
bathroom, she should be back, she should be in.
What are her thoughts?
I thought she was bleeding, right?
Okay, yeah, because did she finish treatment?